Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you like my shirt. For those of you who know what this is, let me get a little bit closer so you can see. For those of you who know what this is, you probably like it. For those of you who don't know what it is, look it up. 7.62 by 3.9 millimeter. Look it up, educate yourselves. So anyways, what we're going to talk about today is something that is a request actually that was submitted by a friend of mine who watched one of my previous videos, the one I did about chambered and unchambered and how I choose to carry if I'm carrying my weapon concealed. And so after she watched that video, she decided to send me a message and asked me to do another video on a particular topic. And so the topic that we're going to talk about today was submitted by this friend of mine, so this one's for you. And it's basically home defense tips for women. So she is a single woman. She is in college at the moment, and I believe she lives in a dorm, either in a dorm or in an apartment off campus. I'm not quite sure which. But she wanted some home defense tips specifically for women, and especially women in her situation who are single and live by themselves. So I'm really glad she asked me that, so I'm going to talk about that today. And so if I keep looking to the side here, it's because I have my laptop. I made some notes for myself to keep myself on track. What I have here is my Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm. So I just like to have it on me at all times, so I keep it around. Anyways, let's get to it. So the first thing I wrote down, the first topic, as far as home defense for women. Now this really can be applied and should be applied to everybody, not just women. This should be for men as well. And it's think like a criminal, right? So we got to think like your enemy, basically. And as a soldier, that's something that we learned early on in your training process. Is you got to learn how to think like your enemy, right? So basically, if you're any person, whether it be man or woman, it doesn't matter. If you think like your enemy, you can always stay one step ahead of them, right? So let's narrow that down to women now. So biggest things that women have to defend against are like sexual assaults, rapes, things like that, right? And I've also got we got burglars and we've got home invaders. Now, a burglar and a home invader are not the same thing. So let me just break that down for you real quick. A burglar is someone who usually watches your home, waits to see till you're not around, wait till you go to work, wait till you go to drop the kids off at school. Then they break into your home when they know you're not going to be there, and then they rob you. They steal your stuff, load it up in the back of a truck or whatever, and by the time you get home, your stuff is gone, you walk in and you see, oh my God, we've been robbed, right? That's a burglar. This is a home invader. Home invader is someone who does not care whether or not you are home. And if you are home, they will simply kick the door down, okay, and they will come in. It's usually more than one. It's almost always more than one person. It's usually a minimum of 2 people during a home invasion. They'll come in, they'll bash the door down, break a window and climb through, however they can get ingress into your home, whether you're home or not. And if you are there, they mean to do you some type of harm. Because look, think about it this way, especially if someone comes into your home while you're there and they don't have a mask or anything to cover their face, they most likely mean to kill you. Because they've let you see their face, which means they don't care if you see their face, which means they're probably going to kill you before they're done. Okay, so you need to be able to handle that situation a little bit differently. You need to handle that situation much more swiftly and with much more force. You need to be able to retaliate against that attack with a lot more force, because they're going to come in there and they mean to do violence to you and your family. So that's a home invader. And that's your difference between a burglar and a home invader. So as a single woman living at home by yourself, let's face it, ladies, okay? I don't care what Hollywood told you. Don't believe the hype. You are no match for a man in a physical confrontation. You need to arm yourself, all right? Some guy's 6'3", hell, I don't care if he's 5'3". He's coming into your house, okay? You're a small woman. Even if you're a big girl, doesn't matter. You are no match physically for a man. He's going to win that physical confrontation. Get a weapon, and get a weapon quickly. So think like the criminal. Think like your enemy. What do I mean by that? Well, think like this, ladies. If I were some freak pervert who wanted to rape me, how would I go about raping me? How would I do that? Okay, where would I hide? Where would I catch me? Right? Where would be the best place to do it, and which would give me the greatest likelihood of getting away with it? So think about your daily routine, how you travel about in your daily routine, going to and from class, if you're in college. Okay, college campuses, oh my God, college campuses across the United States are rife with sexual assault. Okay, it's horrendous and it's absolutely unnecessary and it's completely uncalled for. But it happens a lot. It happens all the time. College girls get sexually assaulted all the time. Why? Because they don't protect themselves. They don't pay attention to what they're doing, and they walk home late at night. Okay, they go out to parties. They're at the bar, the sorority house, fraternity houses, whatever the case may be. They leave. They're half drunk. They're walking back to their apartment or dorm across campus at night. It's a big giant campus, and there's what, 2, 3 maybe security guards on duty. They can't get to you. They can't guard the entire campus all at one time. Okay, and so these things, they just happen. You can wish that they didn't happen. Wishes and hopes and dreams don't make things go away. Okay, so the only thing that can stop a bad guy is a good guy, a well-armed good guy, and a good guy who's got their head on straight, or in this case, a good girl. Okay, so keep your head on straight, ladies. Remember and keep track of what you're doing during the day. So think like you're criminal. If this guy's a rapist, he wants to get away with it. Okay, he either wants to get nobody wants to get caught doing the crime. So what's he gonna do? He's gonna follow you. He's gonna wait till you're alone. He's gonna catch you at night when it's dark. Okay, so when you think like a criminal, you can find ways to basically shore up your defenses against those types of things. Whatever it is, the methods that you can come up with on how they're going to do it, you can defend against that. Okay, but preemptively. So keep that in mind. Always think like your enemy to stay one step ahead of your enemy. So let's see. Okay, so if you're at home, right? We're talking about home defense. So you're already at home. Well, the first thing you want to be able to do, you want to be able to prevent an attack, prevent something from happening. Okay, if they're already in your house, well, we've already lost that battle. We've lost the prevention. Now we moved on to another step, right? We moved on to the trying to repel them from our home. So, but as part of prevention is what you need to do is check all the entry points to wherever it is you live. If you're on your own home, check all your doors and windows, right? Whether you live in a dorm or you live in an apartment complex, you have your own apartment, check all your doors, check all your windows, and what you're looking for, you need to check and make sure that they are adequately locked, and that they are not easily, that the locks or whatever, they're not easily breached. So most homes, most regular houses, single-family homes, they have the sliding windows, right? And they've got the little lock on the side that slides up and down. Those really aren't that great. And those can with enough jarring, you can pretty much pop that open, and you can slide that window right open. So what you need to do is go to your local hardware store, whether it be Lowe's or Home Depot, and buy some dowel rods. Okay, you can get them in a lot of different sizes, from like a 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, all the way up to 1 inch. Get nice thick sized, I would say probably 1/2 inch or bigger dowel rods. You're going to measure the length of the track that the window slides on, measure the length of that, and then get some dowel rods, cut to that length, and stick those inside the track. That way, if the lock becomes broken, if somebody breaks the lock, they still won't be able to slide that window open because that dowel rod is there blocking the window. So what that's going to force them to do, if they really want to get inside, they're going to have to smash the glass. Okay, and that's what you want them to do. If somebody's hell-bent on getting into your home, you want them to have to make as much noise as possible when they do it. Okay, so that's what's going to alert you wherever you're at. You're going to wake up, or you're going to get up off the couch because you're going to hear that glass break. Okay, so and that's what you want. You want the criminal to have to make as much noise getting into your home as possible. So check those things. Check those windows. Check your doors. If you don't have deadbolts, get deadbolts. I went through this myself. I put off the security of my house for far too long. I kept thinking about it. I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. What happened? A year ago in July, last July, my home was burglarized. Thankfully, it wasn't a home invasion, but my home was burglarized. And it happened in the middle of the day. It was roughly 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Just to make a long story short, I was out at work. I worked about an hour away from my home. I got a phone call from my wife telling me, hey, we've been robbed. Okay, the TV's missing. This is gone. That's gone. And how did they get in? They jimmied open one of the locks on the back door to my house that goes from the backyard into. We have a door from the backyard that leads right into the master bedroom, right? And it was one of the few doors in my house that did not have a deadbolt. I did not put a deadbolt on that door. That is my mistake. I should have done that, and I did not. And so it was very easy for them. They literally just used a screwdriver, stuck it in the lock, and pried it open. Popped right open. Okay, it was all too easy for them to get into my house. Well, not anymore. Because since that day, I have replaced, this is something that you can do as well, I have replaced all the doors that lead from inside the house directly to outside. So that's 4 doors in my house. I have 4 doors that go from outside to inside. I replaced all of them with steel reinforced doors. You can buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're relatively cheap. Okay, it's a normal wood door, but on the outside they've got, I believe it's 16 gauge steel on both sides of the door. And they look real nice, and it's cut to where, it looks like a regular door. And so to the untrained eye, it looks like a regular wooden door, but they were reinforced steel, and I put deadbolts on everything. So now everything in my house is deadbolted. It's reinforced by steel. Another thing that you can do as far as your home defense is concerned, and so what I'm talking about now is fortifying your entry points. So like my house, my entry points were inadequate. My windows and my doors were inadequate. I fortified them. So that's something you need to think about, is fortifying your entry points. So getting an alarm system is another thing I did. An alarm system is basically there as first line of defense, right? Whether you're at home or not. If you're at home and you set it to the stay mode, if one of the doors or one of the windows is open, the alarm is going to go off, right? And so the noise is your friend. You want that noise to be able to scare the criminal away. Basically, it makes what they're doing not worth it to them anymore. They're not gonna want to pursue that action anymore if it becomes not worth it to them to have to deal with what's about to happen with the noise that's going on from the alarm system. Now you're alert. You've been alerted to their presence. You're going to get up. You're going to start doing things to make things happen. So basically, if it scares them off, the alarm system has done its job, and that's what we want. And also, if you leave the house, setting your alarm system to away mode, you want to do that as well, because for the same reason. They come in when you're not there, the burglar tries to get in, alarm goes off, makes a bunch of noise, and they're going to, hopefully, if it does its job, they're going to run away, right? Most burglars are not that bold to try and continue with the burglary while the alarm is blaring and chiming. So getting an alarm system is relatively inexpensive. And they've got some really good ones out there now with all kinds of different sensors. You can get motion sensors inside the house. There's magnetic sensors on the doors, on the windows, and the system I got, it even comes with glass break sensors. So if anybody smashes the glass to try and get around the magnetic sensors, the way the magnetic sensor works is there's two pieces, one on the window itself, one on the sill, and they sit right on top of each other like this. And it's a magnetic strip. So once the window is slid open, the alarm goes off. Well, if you just bust the other half of the window and break the glass out, those magnets don't move. So that's another way that they can get inside the house without actually setting off the alarm. Well, the alarm companies figured that out, and they have glass break sensors. There's a little sensor that's attached to the ceiling somewhere in your house, and it's tuned to the frequency that is made when glass breaks. So if somebody smashes the window, it's still going to set the alarm off. So I got a bunch of those as well. So that's something you can look into. It's relatively inexpensive. Most alarm system companies, they give you all the equipment for free for the initial setup, and you just pay the monthly fee for the alarm for the service. So moving along, get a dog. A lot of people already have dogs, but if you don't have a dog, dogs can be a very good deterrent. Nobody wants to get bit by a dog, right? And if you're going to get a dog and you want it for protection, get a big dog. Don't get one of those stupid little yappy dogs that somebody could punt like a football. I hate those things. Okay, they're pointless. Chihuahuas, Shih Tzus, Labradoodles. What the hell kind of a name for a dog is a Labradoodle anyways? Get something that's got some bite to it, not just bark. Get yourself a Rottweiler. Get a Pit Bull. Get a German Shepherd or any combination thereof. Something big, something that can take a chunk out of somebody. Okay? Get a dog like that and train the thing to love you and only you and to hate everybody else. Okay? So anybody that comes around, that dog is going to be on alert. You need that. That's very, very important. So I would suggest you do that. That's another thing that I did. So after my home got burglarized, I went all out. I got the alarm system. I fortified all my entry points with steel reinforced doors and deadbolts on everything and dowel rods in my windows. And I went and bought myself a pit bull. So I got all three. I just said three. Wow. Three. Some of that army math. Three. Dog's in the backyard. She's on a chain, but it's a long chain. So if somebody comes over the fence, she can still get to somebody. And all I need her to do is make enough noise. She doesn't even need to bite him. I just need her to bark and wake me up. That's all I need. So I think she can get the job done with that. Her name's Army, by the way. She's an awesome dog. All right, moving along. So for those of you who decide that you do want to use a weapon to defend yourself, I would suggest the first thing you need to do is take some time and really research out what type of weapon you want, okay? And basically, and I'm not going to stand here and tell you, get this gun. I'm not going to do that, okay? Because I don't feel like I have the right to tell anybody else what type of firearm they need to get for their home protection. What I use for my home protection is I have reasons for why I use it, and it's situational, right? It's based on the person and your home situation. So if I'm single and I live in a house by myself, my weapon of choice, personally, this is just my own opinion, my weapon of choice would be a rifle. Some type of semi-automatic rifle, whether it be my AR-15, an AK-47, AK-74, something that shoots an intermediate cartridge with a large capacity magazine, a standard 30-round magazine, like a semi-automatic rifle. That's what I would use if I lived by myself, or if it were just me and my wife. But I have children, so that's why I use my pistol. I use a semi-automatic pistol. Holds 10 rounds because I live in California. Standard capacity is 17 rounds, so I have a low capacity magazine because I live in the communist state of California. The reason why I've chosen a pistol, very briefly, I'll talk about this. I choose a pistol because I have small children. So a pistol is very easy to manipulate one-handed and to fire on a target successfully while still using the other hand to positively control children. So if there's a bunch of noise going on in the house, somebody breaks in, kids are curious. They come running out of the room. They want to see what's going on. I need to be able to grab them with one hand, hold them back behind me, keep them out of the way, and still be able to engage my target with my weapon. And using a pistol is obviously the easiest type of firearm to use one-handed. So good luck trying to use a semi-automatic rifle or trying to use a pump-action shotgun one-handed while trying to grab a kid, a 4-year-old, and hold him back out of the way. It's just not that easy to do. So, but anyway, so that's something you need to think about. And your situation, your living situation, is going to dictate what type of weapon you choose. And also, the most important thing after you've chosen your weapon is get trained. Don't just buy the gun, stick it in the drawer, and just assume, well, hey, I've got a gun now. Now I'm protected, okay? It is not a magic talisman. It doesn't have the ability to just ward off evil in and of itself, okay? It doesn't have magic powers. It is a tool. You need to learn how to use it. You don't hand a 4-year-old a hammer and just say, go to town, son, okay? He's going to smash everything except the nails you're trying to tell him to swing at. You need to be trained properly, and then whatever it is that you are trained on how to do, you need to practice it. You need to practice it until it becomes muscle memory. It requires commitment from you, the firearms owner. That is what being a responsible gun owner is all about, okay? You have to commit yourself to learn the rules, learn the proper firearm safety, and learn how to use that weapon proficiently. You need to have a survival level of proficiency with your weapon. So, that being said, I am obviously a huge fan, a huge advocate of everybody owning a gun if they want one. So if that's what you choose for yourself, for your home defense and your protection when you're out and about in the streets, do it. By all means, please do it. If you're going to carry a gun in the streets real quickly, make sure you do it legally. You need to have a concealed carry weapon permit. If you live in the state of California, you have to submit the paperwork to the sheriff's department to get your CCW. Even if you use a firearm in public to defend your life or defend the lives of someone else, and you are successful and you thwart an attack or you stop a crime, you will still go to jail if you do not have the proper paperwork. They will say, thank you for using your weapon to stop this person from being harmed or stop this woman from being raped, and then they will turn you around and put you in handcuffs because you did it illegally. You illegally saved somebody else's life because you didn't have the paperwork that said you were allowed to do it. I know, it's a stupid concept, but this is the world we have now. It's not the world we want, it's the world we have. So for those of you who may not want to use a firearm because, the whole finality of death thing, you don't want to, maybe you don't want to have the responsibility of killing somebody. You want to use what's called less lethal means. So there are many different types. The most common would be like pepper spray. And I know it's pretty common amongst ladies to carry some pepper spray in your purse. I'm an advocate of it. I would say go ahead and do that. It's something that I don't think you need a permit to get it. I could be wrong on that, so somebody could correct me. I'm pretty certain you don't need a permit to get pepper spray, though. If you want that, I would say go ahead and get some. Keep it in your purse. Even if you have a gun, get some pepper spray as well, because depending on what the situation is, it may not call for a lethal remedy. Right? It may not call for a lethal reaction. You might just need to more of a deterrent, right? So the pepper spray is there to be that deterrent. So get some pepper spray. It's very effective. Trust me, I have been pepper sprayed. Not because I was trying to accost a woman or anything, but I was involved in a D&D in some years past in my younger days when I was young and stupid. I'm much older and wiser now. And I was pepper sprayed in the face by the local police department. And I'm telling you, that stuff works. It hurts. It burns for days on end. So, and don't go pee after you get pepper sprayed in the face. That's just a little word to the wise. You'll burn your junk. All bad. Moving along. So that's less lethal means. And also, carry a knife, right? People, now for some reason everybody thinks that since the gun was invented, blades are no longer useful. Blades are completely obsolete. I don't want to get stabbed. I don't care what type of technology we have. We have the most sophisticated weapon systems in the world right here in the United States. I still don't want to get stabbed with a friggin' knife. I don't. So a knife is very, very useful. Some guy tries to grab you. If you can get a knife out and stick him with that thing, I'm telling you, he's going to back off. He's going to leave you alone. And depending on the distance, a knife might be a little bit easier to use than a handgun. So carrying a knife, very effective. I carry a knife every day. No matter where I'm at, remember where I go, I keep a knife on me at all times. So this is my Benchmark Tonto blade. Love it. It's a good utility knife. I can use it for protection if I need to, and I also use it for everything else, from opening boxes to just whatever. Anything you can use a knife for, I carry a knife every single day. So a knife is great. Another thing I want to talk about is a flashlight. As you see here, I have a flashlight actually mounted to the end of my pistol. So it's a really nice, it's a surefire light. It's a 500 lumen flashlight. It's an LED. Now, there are people out there that are not proponents of using a flashlight on a weapon system because they say, oh, well, as soon as you shine the flashlight, you're giving away your position and the bad guys know where to shoot, right? Well, unfortunately, we're the good guys. We don't have the luxury of just firing our weapons indiscriminately at shadows in the dark, okay? We have to be able to identify our target before we open fire. That's the burden of being the good guy. Only bad guys don't give a crap about who they're shooting. So if they see a silhouette moving in the dark, they just open fire, all right? Excuse me. If you're going to be a good guy, you've got to take on that burden. And here's what actually normally happens. Bad guy comes into your home. It's the middle of the night. His eyes are adjusted to the night. His pupils are fully dilated to allow as much light in as possible because it's nighttime. So you come up and you get the drop on him and you hit him in the face with 500 lumens of light. Well, first thing that's going to happen, he's going to suffer temporary blindness because his eyes are fully dilated and he's taking entirely too much light off of your flashlight. So first you've already stunned him. You've stunned him with that temporary blindness, and now you've got the drop on him. And second thing is, like I said, you have to be able to identify your target before you shoot. Because the last thing you want to do is shoot the wrong person. You don't want to see a silhouette moving in the dark and just open fire, then flip the lights on and find out it's, your cousin or a family member or a friend or somebody who, whatever the case may be, they're in your house for some reason, and you forgot that they were there, or whatever the case may be. The last thing you want to do is shoot the wrong person, okay? Not shooting the wrong person is more important than shooting the bad guy. So you have to be able to identify your target. So that is the burden of being the good guy. So keep a flashlight. If you're carrying a pistol, you can, if you get a handgun that has a rail mounting system to it, you can buy a rail mounted light and put it directly on the pistol itself. If that's not your cup of tea, just keep a handheld flashlight, a small handheld flashlight right next to the bed. Every day, part of my EDC, which stands for everyday carry, I carry a small flashlight. It's very small actually. Fits right in the palm of my hand, but it's just bright enough to illuminate whatever I need to see at night. It's 28 lumens of light. It's very inexpensive. It's 25 bucks I spent on this. And it's already coming. I bought this thing about 4 days ago. It's already come in handy about 3 or 4 times. So it's great to have just a small flashlight on you. Even when you're out and about, keep a flashlight on you. You can get a little small keychain flashlights. Keep that on your key ring. It's going to help when you're fishing around in your purse looking for your keys. Well, if it's on the key ring, I guess it's not going to help you if you're looking for the keys. So scratch that. But anyways, you know what I'm saying. Keep it on you. Keep it handy. So that's pretty much it that I can think of for home defense for women. And I would say your best method of home defense, ladies, and I don't care how sexist this sounds, have a man in the house. That way you don't have to think about it. That's his responsibility. You got a man in the house. My wife doesn't have to think about home defense unless I'm not here. And even if I'm not here, she's been trained by me how to use her weapon. So again, it may sound sexist. I don't really care. It's about staying alive. That's the most important thing. And your best chance for staying alive when a crazy man breaks into your house is having another man there to defend you. Again, you may not like the way that sounds. I don't really give a damn, because it's at the end of the day, as long as you're alive, that's all that matters. And so if that man saved your life, hey, you win, right? That's all that matters. So anyways, that's all I got. Get yourself a gun, okay? Any gun you want, doesn't matter. Find one that you're comfortable with. Find a caliber that you're comfortable with. Since I just mentioned that, let me just say this. When it comes to a defensive caliber, if you're going to use a handgun, or a rifle for that matter, I would suggest not using anything smaller than a 9mm. 9mm is what I use for my home defense weapon, and that's just because I can get the most amount of ammo in the magazine as possible in a good sized handgun. I wouldn't go any smaller than that for a defensive round. Smaller than a 9mm would be like a 380 caliber, a 22 caliber, something along those lines. I personally feel like that's just too small of a round, doesn't pack enough punch for a defensive round. You might be able to deliver a lethal wound, But lethality and incapacitation are not the same thing. I think I've talked about this before. We want incapacitation. We want the bad guy to stop what he's doing and to stop it right now. The moment he gets hit, we want him to stop what he's doing. Lethality oftentimes doesn't do that. You can deliver a lethal wound. Somebody could be bleeding out internally, but they still might have the capability of beating you to death or stabbing you to death while they're bleeding out. So if both of you die, you both lost. You need him to go away. You need him to stop what he's doing. Whether he dies or not, you need him to stop what he's doing immediately. So incapacitation is what you're looking for. And I don't feel like anything smaller than a 9mm really has the capability to do that adequately. So that's another thing for you to think about when you're choosing your home defense weapon. If you're going to use a handgun or a rifle, nothing smaller than a 9mm for a handgun, and definitely I would not use like a .22 caliber rifle for home defense. I just don't feel like that's adequate enough. That's my own personal opinion. Take it for what it's worth. With that, though, that's all I have. So thank you very much for watching. And as always, I'll leave you with these words. God bless you, the American patriot. God bless the United States, and long live the Republic.